The wind howled through the trees. Snow fell like white dust from the sky, covering the small town in silence. It was winter, and everything looked peaceful. Too peaceful. John Miller, a retired army man, lived alone at the edge of town. His wooden cabin stood quietly among tall pine trees. Smoke rose slowly from the chimney. Inside it was warm. A fire burned in the fireplace. John sat on a chair, drinking hot tea, watching the snow fall through the window. Outside, his horse, Thunder, stood in the yard. The strong brown horse was John's only friend. He had raised him from a baby. Thunder was smart, strong, and calm, never afraid of anything. But tonight was different. John heard a noise, not from inside, but from the yard. It was a soft, sharp sound. Crunch, like someone was walking on snow. John stood up. He turned off the light and looked outside. The snow had made everything white and quiet. But something was wrong. Footprints. John grabbed his flashlight and coat. He opened the door slowly. Cold air rushed in. He stepped outside. His boots sank into the snow. He walked to the fence, shining his light on the ground. There were footprints. Some were normal, like boots, but others, they were strange. 3 toes, long, thin, not human. John's eyes narrowed. He followed the prints. The strange footprints led to the horse's pen. Thunder was moving, restless. He neighed loudly, something he never did at night. John turned the corner and froze. A figure stood beside Thunder. Small, slim, wearing a dark cloak with a hood. Her hands were glowing blue. She was touching the ropes on Thunder's neck. Trying to untie him, John shouted, "Hey, stop right there." The figure turned. For a second, their eyes met. She had pale skin, glowing silver eyes, and marks on her cheeks that looked like stars. Her face was human. But not fully. John raised his flashlight. The light hit her face, and then suddenly she disappeared, not ran, not jumped, vanished, like smoke in the air. John ran forward, heart pounding. No sign of her. Just the snow falling harder now, but something was left behind. In the snow. Near the ropes, a small metallic object lay half buried. John picked it up. It was cold and smooth, shaped like a coin, but thicker. Strange alien symbols glowed on its surface. Blue light pulsed from it like a heartbeat. Thunder calmed down slowly. But John did not. He looked around again, trying to see any movement in the trees. Nothing. He walked back inside, locked the door, and placed the strange object on the table. The firelight danced across its glowing surface. John sat down slowly, staring at it. What the hell was that? He whispered. That night, John couldn't sleep. Every few minutes, he got up and looked outside. The snow covered the footprints quickly, but his mind kept repeating the scene, that girl, her eyes, the way she vanished, and the device. He had seen many things during his years in the army. War zones, secret tech, even UFO stories, but nothing like this. Morning came slowly. The storm stopped. The town was quiet as always. But John knew something had changed. He stepped outside again. The snow sparkled under the sun. No more footprints. Only silence. He walked to the pen. Thunder looked at him. Calm now. John patted his neck gently. Did she talk to you, boy? He asked. Thunder made a low sound, like a quiet reply. John looked at the sky, blue, wide open. Who are you? He said softly. And what do you want with my horse? Inside, the strange object pulsed again. 1.2. Then turned off. Asterisk. The morning sun rose quietly, shining over the snowy land like a golden blanket. But inside John's cabin, shadows still lingered. John sat at the kitchen table, staring at the silver object. It hadn't moved since last night. It looked cold and harmless, but something about it felt alive. He reached for it again. As his fingers touched the smooth metal, a soft hum filled the air. John pulled his hand back. The object was glowing again. Blue lines moving across it like rivers. Slowly, a shape formed above it, a floating image, a hologram. John's eyes widened. He saw stars. A map of space? Distant galaxies. Then a red dot blinked in the middle of the image. A path of light moved from the red dot and ended on a small, blue ball Earth. Before he could react, the hologram disappeared. What the hell is this thing? He whispered. He picked up his old flip phone and called the only person he trusted with weird stuff. Clara. Scene change. Clara's workshop. Clara was a tech genius and an old friend. She had worked with military computers, space satellites, and once even helped the FBI recover deleted files from a crashed drone. John arrived at her workshop. A dusty garage filled with screens, tools, and wires. "John Miller," she said, wiping grease off her hands. "Didn't expect you to call unless it was life or death." John didn't smile. He handed her the device. Clara turned it over in her hands. "Not from around here." "It showed a map of space," John said. "A galaxy. Earth was marked." Clara raised an eyebrow. "Did you hit your head?" "Just turn it on," he said. She connected it to her scanner. The moment power touched the device, every light in the garage flickered. The main screen turned blue. Symbols, strange and beautiful, danced across the screen. "This isn't a device," Clara said. "It's a communicator." "To who?" John asked. Before she could answer, a loud thump came from outside. They rushed to the door. In the snow outside, fresh footprints led to John's truck. But these were not normal footprints. They were three-toed. Just like the ones from last night. The door of the truck was slightly open. John slowly walked over and opened it fully. Inside, there was a drawing, scratched into the frost on the window. A circle. A horse! And a symbol that matched one on the silver device. "She's watching us," Claire said softly. John looked around. The forest stood still, cold and silent. "She wants the horse," he muttered. "But why?" Back at the cabin. A new message that night. John brought the horse into the barn. He set up a camera in the corner, hidden behind a hay bale. He and Clara waited inside the cabin, watching the live feed on a laptop. Hours passed. Wind howled. Snow fell again. Then, movement. A shape appeared in the camera. Small, quick, and quiet. It was her. The alien girl moved close to the horse, gently touching its head. Her hands glowed blue again. She whispered something in a soft, musical language. The horse didn't move. It stood still, eyes calm. Ben. Suddenly, the girl turned and looked directly into the camera. The feed turned just static. "What the—" Clara started. A knock came from the door. Not loud. Just one. Soft knock. John grabbed his old rifle. He opened the door slowly. No one was there. But on the ground, a message written in glowing blue letters. "Not enemy. Just need to go home." The barn stood silent under the snowy night sky. The wind had calmed. No sound, no birds, just the slow creak of old wood and the gentle breath of horse waiting in the dark. John Miller was not asleep. He sat inside the barn, hidden behind hay bales, rifle in hand. Beside him, Clara watched the shadows. The camera system was offline again, as if something didn't want to be seen. "She's coming back," Clara whispered. "I can feel it." John nodded once. "Tonight I talked to her." A single lantern glowed low near Thunder, casting long shadows on the wooden walls. The horse was calm again, almost expectant, like he knew she would return. Time passed slowly. Then a soft blue light shimmered near the far wall. It grew brighter. A sound like wind chimes filled the barn, and she appeared, the alien girl. Stepped out of thin air, not walking, but phasing into view like a reflection, finding its shape. She looked the same as before. Slim, cloaked, silver eyes glowing softly, and blue marks like constellations glowing on her cheeks. She approached the horse. "Now," John whispered. He stepped out from hiding, rifle lowered but ready. "Don't move," he said. Calm but firm. The girl turned, startled, but did not run this time. Her hands slowly rose, showing she had no weapon. Not harm," she said in broken English. Her voice was soft, almost like a child's. "Please." Listen. Clara stepped beside John. You understand us? The girl nodded slowly. I learn. Listen. Long. Who are you? John asked. Why do you want my horse? The girl looked down, then placed her hand gently on Thunder's neck. The horse leaned into her touch. Peaceful. Alara, she said, from Starhome, lost, gone. She closed her eyes for a moment. A tear, clear and glowing, rolled down her cheek. I left Skyship, Presh, others. Gone. Only me now. John lowered the rifle a little. You crashed here? Alara nodded. Clara looked confused. But why the horse? Alara stepped back and pulled something from beneath her cloak. A thin, glass-like tablet. It lit up, showing an image, a creature that looked just like a horse, but glowing, with long hair and two hearts inside its chest. This is from my world, she said. Your animal. Same breath. Same beat. Same light inside. My only way to return. She looked up at John. I not steal. I borrow. Just ride. One jump. One star door. John was silent. The barn creaked. Clara stepped forward. How do you go back? Alara pointed at the glowing tablet. There is gate. Portal. Hidden. Long way. Need energy. Need him. She nodded at the horse. Together, we unlock sky door. John looked at Thunder. The horse looked back at him. All his life. John had fought wars. He had faced fear. Death. He had never imagined the biggest choice of his life would be whether or not to let an alien girl borrow his horse. Why not ask? He said finally. Why sneak around? Why vanish? Alara lowered her head. I was hunted before. By humans. They try catch me. Put in cage. Not listen. You different. You protect. She stepped closer. Carefully. Gently. John didn't move. Neither did Clara. Alara reached into her cloak and pulled out a small piece of metal, half of a circle. Broken. She handed it to him. This key, other half, you have. John looked at the device he had found. The pieces matched perfectly. Click. Two halves joined and the device came alive. A soft, low hum filled the barn. Light burst from it, showing stars again. And a glowing line. A path. To where? Clara asked. Alara smiled. To home. Thunder neighed softly. As if he understood too. Asterisk snow melted slowly on the roof of the cabin. The storm had passed, but a new kind of pressure filled the air. Heavier than clouds. Tighter than silence. Inside the small wooden house felt like. The center of the universe. The strange silver device sat on the table, now whole. Joined with its missing half, it glowed steadily, like a heartbeat that had finally found its rhythm. Alara stood near the window, watching the trees. She didn't speak much. Her eyes were lost in a world far beyond Earth. John and Clara sat across from each other, whispering, Can we really believe her? Clara asked, her voice low. John didn't answer at first. He looked at Thunder through the window. The horse had changed. He was calmer, more connected, as if he understood what was coming. She hasn't hurt anyone, John finally said. She could have taken the horse and vanished. But she came back. Clara sighed and turned her laptop toward the device. Well, let's test what she said. She connected the glowing object to her old analysis unit. The screen blinked. Lines of unknown code flowed like water. Then numbers began appearing. John leaned closer. What's that? It's coordinates. Not Earth-based. Not anything I've seen before. And here she pointed at the screen. This shows an energy pulse. Frequency not found in any database. It's not military. It's not from Earth. They both looked at Ella Aradat. She turned slowly and spoke, her voice calm but tired. My people are gone. My planet is breaking. We sent message for help. No answer. Then we found something in your world. A signal. A link. Your horses match energy. One perfect heart opens the way. John blinked. You mean this horse is a key? Alara nodded. His body sings the same note as my portal. We share the same rhythm. I need him to open the door back. Clara stared at the screen. This is insane. But it's real. Before John could speak, a loud beep echoed from Clara's laptop. She turned pale. Oh no. John stood. What? The device is being tracked, Clara whispered. When activated, it sent a signal. Someone, maybe government satellites, just locked onto it. Outside, thunder neighed sharply. John ran to the window. In the far distance. Dark shapes moved across the sky. Helicopters. Coming fast. Damn it, John muttered. They're not coming to talk. Alara looked at him, eyes wide. I must go now. John nodded. We'll help. Clara grabbed her backpack, stuffing tools inside. We need to move. Get out before they lock this place down. John ran to the barn, saddled Thunder. He's strong, he said. He'll carry you? No, Alara said as she approached. We go together. What? Alara placed a hand on Thunder, then one on John's shoulder. You protected me. Help me. Now, you must see it too. Clara rushed in, holding the device. I've got the signal data saved, but we need to shut this down before they follow the next ping. Suddenly, the silver device pulsed again. A loud, low tone rang through the cabin. Thunder reared slightly, but didn't panic. Alara closed her eyes, and blue light spread from her hands. It wrapped around John and Clara like smoke. I can hide us for now, she said, but not for long. John stared at her. Where are we going? She opened her eyes. To the place where sky touches ground, she said. Where I fell. Where I can go back. John nodded once. Clara looked out the window again. Black helicopters now just minutes away. Then we better ride like hell, she said. Alara gave a soft smile. No, we ride like stars. The sky cracked with noise. Black helicopters tore through the clouds like dark birds of war. Snow flew up in swirls below them as searchlights swept the frozen forest. But on the ground, 3 shadows moved fast. A man, a woman, an alien girl, and a horse that seemed to know more than a beast should. Thunder galloped through the snowy woods with Alara on his back, her cloak flowing behind her like a shadow made of stars. John ran beside them, boots crunching through fresh snow. Breath heavy, rifles strapped across his back. Clara followed close, holding the silver device tight against her chest. It pulsed with blue light, guiding them, pulling them forward. Above them, the helicopters circled. Searchlights flickered across the trees. Voices echoed through loudspeakers. Unidentified subjects. Stop immediately. You are in violation of federal airspace control. They didn't stop. Alara leaned low over Thunder's neck, whispering something in her strange musical language. The horse moved faster, as if the snow no longer touched his hooves. John looked up. They're getting closer. Just a little further. Alara called out. The path opened soon. Through the frozen forest, they ran deeper into the woods. No roads. No trails. Just tall trees, frozen ground, and the distant memory of stars. Branches scratched at their faces. The cold bit into their skin. Still, they moved. Alara raised the glowing device. Here, she shouted. This way. They followed her into a narrow ravine, a natural cut between stone cliffs. The light dimmed. Snow fell silently around them. The helicopters couldn't follow here. For now, they were safe. They stopped. To breathe. Steam rose from Thunder's nose. John leaned against a rock. You okay? Alara nodded. But her glow had faded a little. Her skin looked paler now. Weaker. Clara checked the device. Signal is stronger. We're close. Where exactly are we going? John asked. Alara looked at him. A place where earth is thin, she said. Where the sky almost touches ground. A cave. I fell there. My ship broke. But the gate may still open. John nodded, wiping snow from his face. Then we keep going. Descent to the star cave. They reached the edge of a frozen cliff. Below, a narrow valley hidden between ice-covered hills. In the center, a dark cave mouth, wide and deep, surrounded by stone that shimmered faintly with blue patterns. Alara pointed. There, my sky door. Thunder neighed. The horse seemed to understand. They began climbing down. But from behind, the sound of engines returned. John turned. They're coming down from the air. They found us. Clara looked at the cave. We don't have time. Then we make it, John said. Suddenly, a bright flare landed nearby. Light exploded, blinding them for a second. Voices shouted. Through radios, soldiers were close. Alara raised her hand. A glowing wall of blue light shimmered in the air behind them. A temporary shield. I can hold them, she said. But only for moments. John looked at her. Go, open your gate. We'll cover you. Alara nodded and moved toward the cave. Thunder beside her. Inside the cave, the walls pulsed with dim blue veins. Alien symbols etched deep into the stone. Alara stepped into the center. She placed the device on a stone pedestal. Light spread outward. Symbols lit up around her like a circle of stars. She placed her hand on Thunder's heart. The horse closed its eyes. A gentle hum filled the cave. Outside, Clara and John held the soldiers back, throwing smoke grenades. Using the rocks for cover, gunfire echoed through the valley. Back inside, the symbols spun faster. The air rippled. A sound like thunder and wind filled the cave. Alara's cloak lifted slightly, glowing brighter than ever. Then, a flash, a thin line split the air in front of her. A door of light began to open, not just a gate. A window to another world, a planet in the distance. Cracked, burning, but still beautiful. Home. Her home. The cave was alive, not with sound, but with light. Soft, pulsing. Endless light that rose from the walls, from the ground, from the very air itself. It was as if the stone remembered stars. In the center, Alara stood with her eyes closed, one hand on Thunder's heart, the other raised toward the opening gate. The horse was still, calm. His eyes glowed faintly now. Not with fear, but with something older, something ancient. The air cracked. A thin line of light, almost invisible, stretched into a tall oval and began to widen. The sky door was opening, and beyond it, another world, a broken sky. Red clouds, tall silver towers, shattered and floating. In the air, a dead forest with glowing roots. Silence, beauty, lost. Her planet. Her home. Alara took a shaky breath. A tear rolled down her cheek. Not because she was afraid, but because she had never thought she'd see it again. Outside the cave, a final stanchion crouched behind a stone, reloading. Gunfire echoed through the snow-covered valley. Black-clad soldiers shouted into radios. Confused by the strange energy field blocking the cave, Clara ducked beside him. We can't hold them much longer. John nodded. Then we don't. We just buy her time. He peered through his scope. The soldiers were moving in closer. One of them shouted, "Surrender the alien. Now." John didn't answer. He looked back toward the cave. Come on, Alara, come on. Inside the cave, the portal was now wide enough to step through. Wind blew from the other side, cold and dry, like the breath of a dying world. But something was wrong. Alara stumbled. Slightly. The glowing device on the stone flickered. The cave dimmed. She looked at Thunder. No, she whispered. Not enough. She turned to the swirling light, then back at the horse. Her eyes filled with quiet pain. Then she understood. The portal was not just powered by energy. It was powered by life, a full connection. A final gift. She would have to take Thunder with her, and he would not return. The choice. John ran into the cave, breath ragged. Alara, it's open. She turned slowly. Her glow was weaker now. Her body was shaking. He looked past her. Saw the gate, saw her world. You did it, he said, smiling. You can go home. She nodded once, then looked at Thunder. And didn't move. John frowned. What's wrong? She didn't answer at first. Then, with great difficulty. She said, if I go, he comes with me. Forever. John froze. The barn. The long rides. The quiet nights. Thunder was more than a horse. He was family, his last link to a world before it wore. Before loneliness. But if I don't go now, Alara said softly, the gate will close. My kind, my past, everything will fade. Silence, even the portal seemed to pause, like it was waiting for a decision. Then John did something no one expected. He smiled, walked to Thunderdot, placed his hand on the horse's neck. It's okay, old friend, he said. You always wanted to run free. Now, you get to run between stars. Thunder nuzzled him gently. Alara stared, stunned. John turned to her. Take him. Go, before I change my mind. She blinked, eyes glowing, then slowly climbed onto Thunder's. Clara ran in behind them. The soldiers. They're almost here. Alara looked down at John Dot, then reached into her cloak and handed him something small. A silver stone. Softly glowing. Memory stone, she said. Watch it. You'll see what I saw. He took it. The cave began to shake. The gate pulsed. One last time, Dot and Alara rode forward. Thunder didn't hesitate. Together. They passed through the light and vanished. Gone. The cave went dark. The wind stopped. The portal was closed. Afterlife. Soldiers arrived seconds too late. There was nothing left but quiet snow and a cold cave. John and Clara walked outside. The sky was clearing now. Stars above. Far above. I think she made it, Clara said. John looked at the memory stone in his hand. I know she did. The snow melted early that year. It was quiet change. Slow. Gentle. The kind of change no one notices until they stop. Breathe and look around. In a small wooden cabin, far from roads and people, a man sat on his porch. His eyes searched the sky. Not for clouds or birds, but for something else. Something he had seen once. Something he would never forget. John. Miller hadn't spoken much since that night in the cave. He had told the world nothing. He had told the government less. The soldiers came, asked questions, took his camera, took his words, but they didn't take the memory. They didn't take the feeling. The memory stone on the shelf inside the cabin, in a box wrapped in cloth, sat a small glowing stone. The memory stone. John only watched it once. That was enough. In that glowing vision. He saw Alara's world, the broken sky, the floating ruins, the glowing trees, and others like her, waiting, hoping. She had returned, and Thunder had run across a field of light, faster than ever before, though happy, free. That one image stayed in John's heart like a warm fire during a long night. He didn't cry, but his hand touched the stone. Every morning. The quiet sign Clara still visited. Sometimes for coffee, sometimes to sit in silence. Do you ever think she'll come back? She asked one day. John looked at the stars. Maybe, maybe not. That wasn't a goodbye. It was something else. What then? A beginning. They didn't say more, but things were changing. Birds had returned early. The forest seemed brighter. Some trees had blue-tinted leaves, glowing faintly at night. And then came the foal with star eyes. It was born on a foggy morning. No one expected. Thunder had been the only horse John kept. Yet there she was. A small, beautiful foal, with deep brown fur and soft eyes that shimmered silver in the moonlight. No other horses had been nearby. No. One could explain it, but John didn't ask. Questions. He named her Luma after the faint light of stars. She ran like the wind, learned fast. And whenever she looked at the sky, it felt like she remembered something too. The final message one night. Weeks later, John stood alone under the open sky. Stars blinked above. Cold wind touched his face. Then a flash. Not a plane, not a shooting star, just a streak of soft blue. Across the sky, and a sound like chimes. He smiled. She's all right, he whispered. Behind him. The foal neighed softly, her eyes glowing gently in the dark. John looked at her, then at the sky and nodded once. Maybe some goodbyes are not endings. Maybe some are invitations. To listen. To wait. To believe.